6 p.m. in Bagante, that is in the west region of Cameroon. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining me on today's edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast. For presentation, I am Immaculate Fogwe. Some traders has been advanced as one of the major reasons why the city is submerged in dirt. Despite the Thursday cleanup campaign, which was imposes traders to open their shops only after 10 a.m., many say the motives behind such a campaign is not bearing the required fruits. They are urging council authorities and the Hygiene and Sanitation Company to step up the fight against poor hygiene across the economic capital city of Douala. Those are major stories. Stay with us for details and more. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us on today's edition of the news. And 15 health centers operating illegally in the Douala 5 subdivision have been sealed by the local administrator. This was during an operation launched by Dr. Asongwe Cletus to cleanse this area of jurisdiction from illegal practices. 5 persons were also arrested in the course of the crackdown. Smart Gable says 300 health facilities have been noted to be operating illegally right here in the city of Douala. His report.
From the first look, one will think it is a sitting room for a family, but this sitting room has been transformed into a clinic by the owner, who even admits patients inside. It was one of the discoveries made by the divisional officer of Douala 5 subdivision during an operation he launched.
The objective today was to close down health centers that function in illegality. People get up, transform their bedrooms into the health centers, to administer expired drugs, expired injection. This is what kills the population. You cannot on your own create your health center. You don't respect any norms, and you expect us administrative authorities charged with protecting lives to accompany and clap for you.
Upon the discovery of this health unit, a cupboard containing drugs will be taken outside, and surprisingly, almost all medicines found inside are already expired since 2021. The accused says she is not guilty. From the sitting room clinic, the next stopover of the convoy will be at Sodikombo, where the team stumbled on a fetus which has been wrapped in a wrappon and dumped. The doctor of the clinic says he only saved the woman and didn't do any abortion.
They came here, it was about 3 days ago. So did ecography, the child was already dead in the womb. So now we're just struggling to remove the child, and everything comes out as the ecography to us that the child is already dead. The child was almost in the state of decomposition.
The divisional officer says the operation will not end just now.
The operation today is an operation that will continue. We have closed a good number of them. We have arrested some promoters where the situation was exaggerated. You cannot work as a health center. Even basic toilets, basic hygiene rules are not respected.
During the crackdown on illegal medical centers, the team went through some medical centers, and the state in which they were found was disappointing. The divisional officer sends this message.
All promoters of such illegal institutions to close them down immediately and change activity, because we will continue to fish them out until there is total order in this domain.
In the course of the operation, 5 people running health centers without authorization were arrested, while 15 health centers were shut down.
Those who have been arrested, investigations will be opened and they will be presented to the State Council for prosecution. They merit it, and that is exactly what we are going to do. Because you cannot be caught administering expired drugs and we allow you to go scot-free.
Day 1 of the operation took place within Dembange, Deido and Cité de Palmier health districts. Dr. Asongwe Cletus says they have 300 illegal health centers to close, which implies the operation is far from ending.
And we stay in the city of Douala, where 2 persons suspected of consuming and trafficking cannabis have been picked up at the Bonadibong neighborhood by elements of the judicial police. The 2 were presented to the press recently and later handed to the judiciary. Smaji Kangable reports.
At the premises of the judicial police station in Douala are 2 individuals who have been arrested by the forces of law and order.
In the Bonadibong district, one of our patrols on information stopped 2 individuals in possession of 98 large packets of cannabis, the whole weighing 31.28 kilograms.
They are accused of consuming and trafficking Indian hemps within the economic capital of Cameroon. 1 out of the 2 was the wholesaler.
After investigation, it turned out that one of the 2 was a wholesale dealer in these narcotics. And the second was the owner of the house in which the merchandise were frequently stored.
According to Commissioner Edu Asene Sono, the 31.82 kilogram Indian hemps will be destroyed systematically, but he is calling on the population of Douala to collaborate with the forces of law and order.
We appeal to the population extreme vigilance to help eradicate this phenomenon, which is wreaking havoc among young people, especially during the school vacation.
The 2 alleged consumers and traffickers were handed to the judiciary for further investigations.
And Douala city dwellers say they are fed up with the filthy state of the town. Some markets in Douala are dirty, making the traders very uncomfortable with the pungent smell emanating from the heaps of garbage found around their stores. They say despite the fact that they pay a lot of money for their markets to be cleaned up, the market still remains very dirty. Anabila now takes us to Marché Double Bal, that is in Bipanda, and Makepe Misoke, right here in the city of Douala.
Huge heaps of dirt emitting very pungent smell. Huge heaps of dirt emitting pungent smell is what most Douala city dwellers have been faced with for some months now. Passing by most crossroads in the economic capital, the sight of garbage bins overflowing or piles of dirt in the street is very conspicuous.
Ça nous intoxique. Moi-même, je ne sais pas quelle maladie il y a chez moi. Au moment où il y a trop de poubelles, il y a les odeurs.
At Bepanda, precisely at Marché Double Bal, the traders complain the situation is out of hand.
Nous souffrons trop ici à Double Bal. Les clients ne voient même plus. Nous sommes bloqués à cause de la poubelle.
Difficult for them to carry out their businesses normally because of odor from piles of dirt. The heaps of garbage also cause congestion, making it hard for buyers to make their way into the market.
C'est déjà même trop approché jusqu'à bloquer même la route. Même les voitures ne parviennent même plus à passer.
These buyers sellers at Marché Double Bal are forced to put on face masks despite the fact that they pay for cleanup every week.
Nous payons la poubelle, nous payons le balayage. Mais on verse comme ça.
And at Makepe Misoke, precisely at Entrée Chefferie, the situation is the same. Another huge heap of dirt along the road, making circulation difficult.
Vraiment, c'est catastrophique ici là dans notre quartier parce que nous ne parvenons même pas à mieux circuler.
The local population is urging the hygiene and sanitation company to make more frequent stops and carry away dirt which have been littering streets and markets of the economic capital, Douala. In the same vein, many Cameroonians, most especially those living in the city of Douala, are yet to understand the importance of the Thursday cleanup day. On Thursday, shop owners are allowed to open their shops only after 10 a.m. so the area is cleaned. However, this is not respected by some traders as piles of dirt are still very visible in front of some of their stores. Our reporter, A.C. Lucy Liengo, visited some neighborhoods and compiled the following report.
On Thursdays, many have as obligation to clean their market space, environment, streets, while others are yet to develop the culture. This is evident as some shop owners, sellers of the city of Douala, close their shops waiting for 11 a.m. to start selling. But around their shops, one can still see dirt littering. Many think the cleanup day is not respected by Cameroonians because they are not disciplined. At 11 a.m. or 1 p.m., you see people opening their shops, but where are the controllers? No one has been sanctioned. To some, people have not developed the culture of cleaning their environment.
Oui, les gens restent parce qu'ils n'ont pas cette culture en eux.
Yes, people don't have it as their culture. Like me, anything I eat, like bread, I throw my paper in a dustbin. How many people do this in Cameroon?
J'arrive là où je trouve la poubelle. Combien de Camerounais font ça?
According to the Site Deputy Mayor of the Douala 5 subdivision, there is a need for more sensitization campaigns, and those who violate the rules will have their shops sealed.
On te sait parce que tu n'es pas venu travailler. Donc, si ta boutique est fermée,
if you don't clean up your shop, it will be sealed.
C'est le seul moyen de répression. Il y a des sanctions.
It's part of our measures.
D'arrêter et des délibérations que nous avons prises ici.
Thursday was declared a general clean-up day for everyone, in which people are supposed to clean public places, houses, shops, along the streets, and also clean dirty areas.
And we now talk something else. Human rights stakeholders in Central Africa are striving to enhance the respective rights in business. They are meeting in Douala in a two-day dialogue on national action plans on business and human rights in the sub-region. Babla Jonathan reports.
Violation and abuse of human rights in both public and private enterprises and institutions in Cameroon and other African nations are rife. Several employees work in poor, precarious and inhumane conditions. Workers repeatedly take to the streets to demand for their rights, including better working conditions, better pay, social dues and benefits.
It is a fact that we do not always see the impact of the economic activities, exploitation of resources in the living conditions of populations, groups of populations, communities.
We also have diversification in the size of investment and in the sectors. And this is putting a lot of pressure on our lands and our resources and exposing communities to the presence of those investors. And they are likely to be harmed by the activities of the investors.
To address these problems, state and private stakeholders from member countries of the Economic and Monetary Community of Central African States, ECAS, are discussing national action plans on business and human rights in Cameroon's business hub, Douala. These experts have been brought together by the Office of the United Nations High Commission for Human Rights, the African Union, the German Cooperation Agency and national human rights institutions to fine-tune actions that should be taken in all the 10 ECAS states to ensure that rights of individuals and communities are respected in all economic activities.
Also to prevent new challenges from interfering with the enjoyment of human rights by everyone.
A national action plan has not yet been adopted in some countries, including Cameroon. Experts say it is urgent to do so.
It's an emergency. It's something that we really need to have. It goes hand in hand with the policy of attracting investors. When you attract investors, you have to set the rules so that the investment is not harmful to the people. The communities hosting the investment, and it's not harming for the people working for the investors, the workers.
As highlighted by the resident representative of the United Nations High Commission for Human Rights and director of the UN Center for Human Rights in Central Africa, Nuhum Sangare, the objective is to have an African continent with enhanced human rights and justice for all. For this to be achieved, he adds that the well-being of human beings and their dignity should be placed above all other considerations.
And on to something else. The chamber of an individual who has been working as a lawyer right here in the city of Douala has been sealed by the forces of law and order. The president of the Cameroon Bar Council, Barrister Mba Eric Mba, and some of his collaborators led the operation on the grounds that he is not a lawyer. Babla Jonathan reports.
For several years, this office that you're seeing right behind me had been serving as a chamber for sewing named Sylvestre Brazza, who's been functioning as a lawyer for over 18 years, but he's not recognized by the Cameroon Bar Association, and that is why the chamber has been sealed. The president of the Cameroon Bar Council, Barrister Mba Eric, and law enforcement officers were here to seal this office
in Douala
on grounds that it is illegal for Niem Brazza to present himself as a lawyer when he has not been recognized by the Cameroon Bar, when he has not gone through the normal laid down procedures to become a lawyer in Cameroon.
This same case is a warning the Cameroon Bar is sending to the public that anybody who is going to attempt in any manner whatsoever to usurp the functions of a lawyer in this country will have the law to face with. We have just started it, and we are not retreating for one bit.
But his name featured on the bar roll, and there are questions as to how his name featured on the bar roll when he is not recognized as a lawyer by the Cameroon Bar Association. Barrister Mba Eric, who is the president of the Cameroon Bar Council, says this could have been a product of manipulation, illegal manipulation of the bar roll.
You know, the bar roll can be created anywhere. You can get a bar roll and go and become it. If you see any lawyer, if you see anybody who tells you that he's a lawyer, the first thing is ask for him to present his ID card. It is your right. And if at any point you identify anybody who is suspicious, who says he is a lawyer, at all the regional levels, I have representatives, I have special delegates, draw their attention to it, and such people will be called to book.
After the sealing of this office, investigations will go on to establish other facts surrounding this issue. The Bar Council President, Barrister Mba Eric, says he and the other officials of the Cameroon Bar Association are determined to cleanse the profession, to get the legal profession in Cameroon rid of impostors.
And the president of the Cameroon Bar Council, Barrister Mba Eric Mba, goes further to explain to us about how and why the so-called lawyer's request to be a lawyer was rejected by the Cameroon Bar Council. Take a listen to him in this excerpt.
He could equally not prove that he was a lawyer inscribed on the bar in Niger, so his application was rejected. In the year 2005 or 6, he came again and applied, and they rejected it. Strangely, along the line, we discovered that there's somebody who is installed here in Accra, and they say he's a lawyer. So when I came here, I could not even imagine in the widest of my mind that it could happen. So the Bar Council, the secretary, my representative for Littoral, the chief of protocol for the bar, we came here, we met him, and we asked him one simple question. We hear you are a lawyer. Your name is not on the bar roll. Can you tell us where you took oath and when? What you must understand equally, which I must debunk because that's what he's relying on the media, is that his name is on a bar roll. His name is on a bar roll. You know, the bar roll can be printed anywhere. You can get a bar roll and you go and become it. What is surprising is that then he took.
Barrister Mba Eric Mba, president of the Cameroon Bar Council, speaking there. We now take you out of our frontiers. Mali's interim military authorities asked for the United Nations peacekeeping force to leave without delay, citing a crisis of confidence between Malian authorities and a decade-long UN mission known as MINUSMA. And in Senegal, the lawyer of Senegalese opponent Ousmane Sonko has filed a complaint in France and submitted a request for an investigation at the International Criminal Court in The Hague against Senegalese President Macky Sall for crimes against humanity. Malaglory with our foreign page.
Le gouvernement du Mali demande le retrait sans délai de la MINUSMA.
In a statement published earlier this week, the Malian State Department spokesperson Matthew Miller said that America is concerned about the effects of what the decision will have on the security and the humanitarian crisis impacting the Malian people. He added that the U.S. intends to continue to work with its partners in West Africa to help them tackle the urgent security and governance challenges they face. The United States want to encourage further consultations with regional leaders and additional steps to promote stability and prevent conflict. And over to Senegal, Senegalese opposition leader Ousmane Sonko has filed a criminal complaint in France for crimes against humanity against President Macky Sall, as well as requesting a probe by the International Criminal Court. Macky Sall is in Paris on Thursday and Friday for a global climate finance summit called by President Emmanuel Macron. Sonko says that deadly clashes following his sentencing to jail time this month are the latest stepping in a generalized and systematic attack on the civilian population of Senegal since March 2021. This month's clashes over Sonko's conviction for corrupting a young beauty salon worker are the worst Senegal has seen in years, following a previous outburst 2 years ago when at least 12 died. His criminal complaint has been filed by the Paris Tribunal Crimes Against Unity. Under French law, filing a criminal complaint almost automatically triggers an investigation by a magistrate into whether the allegations are credible.
And that foreign page put an end to today's edition at the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe television. Thank you so much for your keen attention. Stay with us if you can.